Today's lesson is on I.4. Find the constant of proportionality from a graph. All right. So the constant of proportionality is something that you were introduced to about 3 weeks ago, and it has a formula that is K, which stands for the constant of proportionality, equals y over x. All right. So this is where we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on y over x. But I want to explain that we actually think of real world things in these terms. Like, for example, if I drive a car and my car goes, let's say it goes 60 miles per hour, right? We talk about things in miles per hour a lot. And that is actually, mathematically, you can write it as 60 miles for 1 hour. And you could actually graph that by putting your miles and your hour and labeling it on your axis, right? There's other examples where, let's say, we're at the grocery store, and then say apples are, let's say apples are $2 per pound, all right? $2 per pound. Again, we could graph that. We could say dollars. Oops, I don't actually know if dollar sign has two lines or not. Dollars per pound. And so if we look at these types of examples and the ways that we describe certain rates, then we can actually see that this starts to become this idea of having your y over your x. So your y-axis over your x. And that's why we're putting your miles per hour, or we're doing dollars per pound. And that's where we get this right here, this idea of y over x, okay? So the constant proportionality, think of it as y over x. Let's go now to look at some examples and see how we can graph these. All right, so example 1 says Karen and her friends set out to sea on their annual fishing trip. There is a proportional relationship between the time, which is in hours, and the time that Karen and friends spend sailing and the distance from the shore. So we're seeing that the time is actually x and the distance is y. Okay, so here's your y-axis right there, and there's your miles. I should have done that in a different color because your hours is your x-axis here. So we're talking miles per hour. So if I look at this graph, what I want to do to find the constant of proportionality is try to find where y can go over x. So let's try to find a whole number for y and x. So a point on this graph, a single point in this graph, can be found right here. All right, and that point, since we're talking miles per hour, we're going to go across to 7 miles. And then your hours right down there is 1. Or this is 7, okay? 7 over 1 is the same as 7 wholes. So what is a constant proportionality? Write your answer as a whole number or decimal. So she and her friends are sailing 7 miles per hour. And you can put a 1 hour there or not. 7 miles per 1 hour, right? And if we were writing this in a sentence, then you can just think of it as miles per hour, mph. All right, let's look at example 2 now. Sorry, I gotta label this as example number. Example number 2. So this graph shows a relationship between pecans. So cups of pecans, and that's x, and their pecan parallel that he makes, which is y. So here's your y, and the cups of pecans are your x's. So we got a graph already. Let's locate a point on it. Let's see. And the point is right up here. And we're thinking y over x. So here's your y-axis, and it is 45. So that's right, 45 over, and your x down here is 5. 45 over 5. You can think 45 divided by 5 equals 9. So he can make 9. I actually don't know how to say this word. Pralines. 9 pralines per 1 cup. Right? And that's how you're going to do this assignment. So if you made it to this part of the video, then I think you can get rewarded with just a summary of the steps that you want to take, okay? So, steps. I'm going to write find a point on the line, right? And that's what we did right there. 2, write the y value over the x value. And then finally, simplify if needed. All right. So if you want to rewind and rewatch some parts of this video, you can see myself. I'm going through these steps. I read the problem, I find a point on the line, I write the y value over the x value, and if I need to, then I can simplify. All right. I will make a video with just examples, verbally walking through the steps and showing how to do the problems as well, okay? So look for that, watch it. Good luck on this lesson, good luck on this assignment.